In high school, students use their cell phones daily, whether it's for educational purposes or social purposes. But at Brebeuf Jesuit, there is a strict no cell phone policy. I decided that I wanted to look deeper into why there is a no cell phone policy. According to Dean Adams, about 3 to 5 cell phones are taken away a week. These cell phones are usually taken away because students do not know how to use their cell phones appropriately, such as texting, playing games, or calling in class, the hallways, or the libraries. Once the cell phone is taken away, it goes straight to the dean's office, and a parent must come in to get the cell phone. Parents must come in to get the cell phones because they are responsible for their student as well as their cell phone. They should know when the student is using their cell phone inappropriately and causing a problem in class. Having the cell phone sent to the dean's office seems to have been effective so far because no student wants to have their parent come in to get a phone. Though the deans feel very strongly about enforcing the no cell phone policy, the students seem to feel very different. Let's get their take. So Shannon, have you ever gotten your phone taken away?
Yeah, actually, one time I did last year. I was in geometry class with Miss Manson, and we were just all taking notes, you know, the usual, and all of a sudden I hear like this weird music coming from like the back of the classroom. So I kind of know it's mine because it's coming from my backpack, but I kind of like play it off like, hey guys, like whose phone is that? Like turn it off, you know? But unfortunately Miss Manton like comes back to the area where it's clearly going off and just looks at me and like stares at me like everybody knows that's your backpack. And so I have to like get my phone out of my backpack. And it's really embarrassing because it was playing like elevator music, ringtone, because I hadn't changed it since I first got it. It was new. And so then everybody was making fun of my ringtone. And Miss Manton was like, I'm giving it to the dean's office. Your mom can go pick it up later. And I was like, really? Because my sister was just calling me, like, do you really have to take it to the dean's office? And she was like, yeah. So then after school, I had to call my mom on somebody else's phone and tell her to come pick it up. But she was in a meeting and she couldn't, so I had to wait till the next day for my mom to come get it. Didn't have a phone.
So Laura, have you ever gotten your phone taken away?
Yes, and they actually lost my phone. Do you want to hear the story?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Mrs. Laycock turned in like my iPhone to the dean's office, and like it had this really distinctive case on it at the time, and she like described it, and I went up to the dean's office and they're like, we don't have your phone, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. And then so I have Mrs. Laycock go up there and talk to the dean's office lady, and she's like, oh, that phone, I remember, you did give me that. And I'm like, well, where is it? And she's like, well, I don't really remember what I did with it. I may have given it to someone else, but I remember getting it, I'm just not sure what I did. I was like, well, that's my phone, can you figure it out? And she ended up never finding it, and the school didn't pay my family back for the phone, and I bought it with my own money when it just came out, so I wasted probably $450 on a phone, and she just happened to lose it.
Thanks, Laura.
You're welcome.
As I have gotten to understand both points of view, I see why the deans don't like cell phones and why the students do like cell phones, but I have a few good ideas that I think will be a good compromise. I think that students should be able to use their phones for educational purposes, such as using it for the web to check grades and do a little research, or just use it for a calculator. As long as it isn't distracting a teacher teaching a lesson, I think that this should be allowed. I think that students should be allowed to use their phones for iPods when they're doing homework or when they're in the library. As long as it isn't distracting anyone by being too loud, I think this should be okay and be allowed. I think that students should be allowed to use their cell phones in the hallway and in the library to text. Students sometimes have to communicate with their parent to let them know what they're going to be doing after school. As long as the cell phone is on vibrate or silent, it won't distract anybody. Here's an example of this. This is an example of someone using their phone and someone doing their homework. See, the cell phone user is not distracting the person doing their homework at all. Though I do understand that cell phones can sometimes be a distraction in school, if there are limitations to what cell phones can be used for and where they can be used, the students can use their cell phones in a way that the deans find appropriate. These are just a few ideas that I had that I feel would help the students and the deans compromise on the no cell phone policy. I hope it is considered. Thanks!